Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the darkest timeline, so it's just me talking about stuff. Games, movies, TV, and something from the week when this was recorded. And I can tell you now, getting it out front, as honest as I can, if you don't like running, and you're not here for the running content, definitely give this one a miss. It's not 100% running. There is still games, movies, TV, if that's what you're here for. But it's running heavy. Running heavy. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. What you can do is if you get the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, iTunes, that kind of thing. If you click the 5-star review, that's a massive help to the podcast. To my knowledge, I don't think you even have to leave a review. You can just click 5 stars. Or other star numbers that you might want to click. 5's good though. Anyway, let's start. Let's start the podcast. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello? Oh, you're working this time. Honestly. I feel like jumping the gun already with the last thing on my list. Oh my word. Little disclaimer. This podcast generally has a variety of different subjects, themes, and things like that. Sometimes they go a little heavy in a certain direction, depending how a particular week has gone, things going on in the week, etc., etc. So, a disclaimer. If you have no interest in listening to a 42-year-old man talk about running, quote-unquote running, this might not be the podcast for you. I realised past a certain point that there was a lot of talk about running. There is other stuff, I promise. But there's a lot of running. A little while ago, I'd seen this thing about the effects on your body of not exercising. And I don't mean like if you're a person that doesn't exercise. I mean if you are somebody who exercises and then stops. So, like what happens day 1? What happens day 2? What happens by the end of week 1, month 1, year, and so on. And it's obviously something that stuck with me because it was quite haunting in the sense that it was like even that first day you lose a step. And then within 2 or 3 days, it's like you've lost like a week. And then within a week, it's like you've lost a month. And having had an injury and suffered an injury, that immediately came to the forefront of my mind. So I had X number of weeks off, but it was just there. It was just this pressing issue of, no matter what, need to get back to running, need to get back to working out. The working out's a whole different beast. It's really long. It's really drawn out. The shortest version is I'm not supposed to work out. The longer version of that is I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to go without even just something light. Technically, I can now start lifting light stuff, but So, I had some time off running. There wasn't anything I could do about that. I just had to accept it, resign myself to it, and that was that. But that's not how stuff like this works. It's kind of okay, I can't run, but that's no good, and I'm losing ground. So I had these like attempts at running. And for all the running I did do, for all the running that I have achieved, I don't know what you would call it. When you run X number of days a week, whichever way you slice it, you're going to be in a particular position. There was a part of me that was like, I'm not gonna miss too much. I'm not gonna lose too much. I'm not gonna, all that sort of stuff. The part of you that thinks that you're weirdly superhuman or whatever because you do something every day. And there are theories there that support if you do something a lot, you can every now and then you can take a day off. However, the people that do those sorts of things don't want to take a day off. It's never quite how you imagine it, though. I was like, if I can run 9 miles and I have 2, 3, 4 weeks off, let's face it, I'm not going to be running 9 miles day one, but day one, 5 miles. That's not too much to expect, is it? Spoilers, it's too much to expect. Way too much to expect. I was just very, very surprised. There's other stuff that I'll come to further into this. Although it's a podcast and it'll probably run for X amount of time because these do, this is almost one subject, almost one thing. There's just going to be a lot about it. And like I said at the start, it's a lot to do with the running. So, this is where things are going to get weird. I don't know if I mentioned previously. Did I talk about this left leg thing? Did I talk about the issue I was having with my left leg, that I couldn't bend my left leg, and then I started to wonder if there was a thing about that's why I fell, and because I couldn't bend my left leg when I when I hit the thing that I hit, maybe it was because I couldn't bend it to lift it, and there was this whole thing about not being able to bend my left leg, whether what came first, the chicken or the egg, all of that sort of stuff. So, I wrote all this stuff out for what I was going to do when I got back to running and exercising and all this, that, and the other. And as far as there was stuff for working out is concerned, that's still on the back burner, but it's still, there's this plan for getting back. And not only getting back better, stronger, faster, all that sort of stuff. $1 Million Man. So, the plan for the running was I need to engage my left leg more. Motion is the lotion, as Mark Bell would say. So, move the left leg more, bend the left knee more, make it work, make it happen, make it whatever. So on these these shorter runs, these getting back runs, whatever you want to call them, I'm like, right, I need to engage the left leg more. Now, I appreciate it's running, and in theory, it involves 2 legs. And it's hard to explain, and I can't explain it, but imagine, if you will, that you're running, but your left leg's like a passenger. It's just there for the ride. And it's almost like some kind of pendulum that it's just swinging because the body is doing the rest The body's doing the work, the right leg's doing the work, the arms are moving side to side, the shoulders are doing what the shoulders are doing, the posture, all the things that you supposedly need to run properly. It's all there. The left leg's just kind of along for the ride. So this realization, I'm like, okay, so I need to engage the left leg. So I'm like, lift the leg, bend the leg, run with the leg. And something weird started happening. And there's a part of me that's like, it's just getting back into running. That's all it is. It's just getting back into running. It's not anything other than that. There's another part of me that's like, what if not using my left leg correctly, not engaging my left leg correctly, I've been missing something? Because focusing on using my left leg, focusing on bending my left leg and engaging my left leg more has seemed to deliver an amount of power, an amount of speed. Going back a couple of years, going back to the pandemic, there were very few options available. Very few options. The options were not go to the gym, still need to get exercise. So there was the running. And I remember the day, I remember the moment, I remember there was a point where I was like, I need to run, but I can't burn myself out. So I put like this like limit on what I was going to do, what I was going to achieve, what I was going to be able to, like the output I was going to deliver through running. And since then, I've never been able to get back to what I was able to do before that. I don't run, I shuffle. I'm not fast, it's not running. It's not, I use the word, but it's not running. And you'll have heard me say that 1,000 times on these podcasts. I don't run, I shuffle. And then there's this thing that's come up that is like, is this something to do with this left leg? Not engaging the left leg. So I've been trying to engage it more, and there's some speed there, there's some power there. Again, I'm not talking about running fast. I'm not even talking about running. I'm just talking about going a little bit quicker. And it's weird. It's super weird. I don't know, I might have mentioned it last week or before or something. I was testing a theory, and the theory seemed strange. This is the theory I was talking about, if I mentioned it. Something that has not been going well. Getting up early has gone completely out the window. There was this thing from one of the books that I've been reading that was saying about why motivation is actually a bad thing. And that's because motivation comes and goes. And when motivation's there, it's great. You can do things, you can achieve things, you can whatever. But when motivation's gone, if that's what you're relying on, you've got nothing to fall back on. And if you've got nothing to fall back on, then what's going to make you do the things you're supposed to be doing? And that's essentially what's happened. And again, there's something further further down the list to talk about that will definitely tie into this, and I fully understand and appreciate that. I get it, but so it's very simple. It went like this: alarm goes off at 5:30. Get out of bed, turn the alarm off, back into bed. 15 minutes later, alarm goes off. Get out of bed, turn the alarm off, get back into bed. 15 minutes later, alarm goes off. Get up, get dressed, get out the door. And there we go. Yes, the alarm started going off at 5:30, but half an hour wiggle room. Are we really, is it really that bad? When I was running more in the 7, 8, 9 mile region, that half an hour wouldn't have been a thing. With a broken arm, I was getting up to walk. So, next thing, it's like, well, realistically, I only need an hour to walk the distance I was walking. I did a nice brisk walk first thing in the morning. It's not running, it's not ideal, but it's something. It's better than nothing. So that's that. I only actually need an hour, so I don't need to be up at 6. So alarm goes off at 5:30, 5:45, 6, 6:15, 6:30. Get out of bed, get dressed, leave, go for an hour, back at 7:30. Job done. And then there was I don't actually need to leave till 7. So even though I'm getting up at 6:30, I can just take my time, take a bit of, go in the bathroom, get sorted, go get dressed. Before long, lost another half an hour. Well, if I'm losing half an hour, that's half an hour I could be in bed. So 5:30, 5:45, 6 o'clock, 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. 7. It had reached a point where it had got that late that I was actually getting up later than I was previously before deciding to get up at 5:30 in the morning. Because back then I would have been out of bed at 7 at the latest. To get up, get sorted, and get started, and I'd have been out the door within 10 minutes. Like I say, I'm gonna come on to it, and I'm gonna talk about what I think is going on. And I understand it, and I get it, and all that, but it doesn't feel good. So. A little bit, I'm going to swing back a little bit the other way. I'm going to get a drink. A refreshing glass of water. Yes, please, sir. I've been listening to a podcast recently, and the guy that does it doesn't drink. It weirds me out. Not great podcasting, I appreciate. So, some of the things that have been going on with the running. We're going back to the running. Back with the running. So there's these 3 things that have been going on recently that have attributed to like a new running style. Whilst I was walking rather than running, I had to accept that although I'd needed a new pair of running shoes for months, the fact that I'd reached a point where I was basically walking on the ground with my heels, I was like, this is not good. Need a new pair of running shoes. So I've got some new running shoes. They were a gift. They've got these monstrous thick soles. When I step out of them, I physically step down to the ground when I step out of them. They're great. But new shoes, that's obvious. And a different type of heel. I've never had a heel like this before, this like thick heel. Because I just rip through trainers, running shoes, any footwear, because of how messed up my feet are and my walking. I just tear through shoes. So I was like, right, the answer here is to just get thicker soles, thicker heels. So you've got new shoes. Then you've got this different running style. This trying to engage the left leg more, which is giving it a bit more power. I've been saying recently, the thing that annoys me at the moment is the first 3 miles of a run, because I hate it. I've always hated running. It's no secret. But past that, you kind of get this thing where you get into this stride. You get a bit like you feel like you've got a bit more energy. You feel like your breathing's locked in. Everything comes together nicely, and you feel like for once in the run you can actually do it. And that's where the long distance comes from. That's where my brain trips over to, hey, you want to run 10 miles? Because we could if you wanted to. We could do that. What sort of time you got today? You want to run 10 miles? Let's run 10 miles. And that's where the distance was coming from. I was able to engage that part and go, right, we're off now. See you later. Can you imagine what it's like to run for 3 miles going, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. I don't want to do this. I want to go home. This sucks. Everything hurts. Why am I doing this? And a variety of different variations of the same thing and the same subject, which is, what is this? So then I've got this thing where I'm trying to lift my feet more. I fell and I broke my arm because I didn't lift my feet. So I need to lift my feet. But that goes against the shuffling that I do. Add all of that together, and do you know what you get? I'll tell you what you get. A few years back, a guy I worked with invited me to go to his gym. I think at the time he was getting into, we were running together, and he was getting into lifting weights together. He was like, do you want to come to the gym? I'm like, I haven't been to the gym for a while, but yeah, okay, I'll come to the gym. So I went to the gym, and we did your gym store stuff, your chest stuff, your back stuff, arms, and eventually we got around to doing legs, and I lifted weights with him on a leg day, and then I couldn't walk. Almost immediately after we finished, I struggled to walk down a flight of stairs, and for 2 weeks after that, I struggled to walk normally. Couldn't go up and down stairs. I had trouble driving. I had trouble with every single aspect that involved using my legs for anything. It was insane. It was this is what it looks like if you don't work legs for 20 years. This whole running thing looks like that. It's insane. It's bonkers. I was saying to Leanne, I was like, the only thing I can think is, for all the times I've thought, why do I train legs? I run. Do I really need to be training legs? Do I need to squat and deadlift and lunge and all of that? Do I need to do all this leg work because I run? Maybe the answer to that is yes, because that was stopping my legs from being in the position that they've been in recently, where I can't walk up a flight of stairs. Honestly, absolute insanity. One of the other things I've got going on, I imagine everybody can understand this. Everybody can kind of get where I'm coming from on this one. Absolutely consumed by the fear of falling over. Obviously, it's happened. It's happened to me. It's happened to me recently. So now, when I run, I just come up with different scenarios for me falling over. One of my personal favourites, one that goes around a lot, is falling over and knocking my teeth out. I've got the falling over and breaking my other arm. Falling over and breaking a leg. Falling into the road, getting hit by a car. One the other day, I ran past a lamppost. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine if I fell into a lamppost? What would the damage there be? It's pretty constant, not going to lie. I think we can all agree it's understandable. I think you can probably imagine what it's like, though, to have that fairly constant. So, started getting back to running. There was a lot less walking in my life. That's not necessarily true. There was some less walking and a little bit more running. But the thought of running 9 miles, for example, was beyond comprehension. As I said before, definitely not going to be running 9 miles day one, but maybe 5. No. What instead is, I can barely run 4 miles. One day, and this is super fun, really enjoyable. This one, one day ran 2 miles at least. Wait, 2.5 miles. Maybe a bit more. Maybe closer to 3. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then had to walk. Do a walk run. That was real soul destroying. So yeah. If anybody that does any form of exercise is thinking, hey, maybe I can take a day off, don't. So, something that I've been alluding to. I haven't necessarily been alluding to, but so I've got this conflict going on in my head at the moment. Things are not great. I think the broken arm started a chain of events. And I think that it started like a chain of depression. But I guess there's a part of me that was like, oh yeah, stay positive. Stay positive, it's all fine, it could have been worse. That's always a good one. We need to keep going, we need to keep body active, mind active. We need to keep moving forward. So that's what I did. Instead of getting all depressed and mopey and whatever, I just carried on. Just carried on going about my day, carried on going about doing as much as I could. And that was that. And then, since then, there's been this series of bad times. I feel at the moment a little bit cursed. I feel like nothing really seems to be going right at the moment. And a lot of stuff seems to be going wrong. Not to go into too much detail, which I know is one of those that I'm supposed to be able to go into a bit more detail. That's the idea. But not to go into too much detail. I've got there's a whole work situation that I'm dealing with. There is a situation that I'm dealing with from when I drove to Edinburgh. There is a it's hard to stay vague with some stuff. Just things. Everything seems to be pretty shit at the moment. The problem I've got is the way I visualize it is like my mind has corralled all these shit things and put them in one place. Like, you all sit there And then it's got like a big blanket. And it's put the blanket over the top of all of these problems. And just keeps going, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, there's like these two separate conflicts going on. One is where part of my mind is going, everything's really shit at the moment. And that's not great. And it's not a lot of fun. And when you're not dealing with one shit thing, you're dealing with something else that's also shit. And then I've got another part of my mind that's going, yeah, okay, that's fine, but everything's fine. Everything's okay. Keep moving on. And I think that is having a direct impact on the, like I said, struggling to get up. There's no struggle, just not doing it. I think that it's having an effect on the exercise, the fact that when I run down the street, all I think about is falling over and hurting myself. A multitude of other aspects. I'll give you an example. You ever have one of those days where just everything goes wrong? But even down to like the tiny little things in life. You're doing something and it just goes wrong. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Give you an example. So I'm referring to yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday, and Sunday can honestly suck a bag of dicks. Because yesterday sucked the biggest, sweatiest pair of balls ever. So, Leanne said to me, I need to go and change the height of the cot. And it was a point in time where I was like, well, I can do that. Are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to manage with your arm? You're only going to be able to use one hand. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hey, I am a man, and I can do an Allen key with one hand. So I went upstairs with my little Allen key and my one hand, and I went up there and I went into the room, and it was a shit show from start to finish. And all I could think was, why would anybody design something this way? Things fell out, things fell off. You've got that situation of, like, you're taking 4 bolts out and then things fall off the bolts, but then they're upside down, so you have to defy gravity to put them back in, and you're in a tight space, so I can't use my other arm, and my other arm has no strength even if I could use it, so I can't hold the thing up that I need to. It was like 20 minutes of me just using every single swear word that I could muster in the most creative way that I could, because yesterday was the shittest day, because every tiny little thing that could go wrong went wrong. Anything that couldn't go wrong went wrong. Every single thing. From the moment I stepped out of bed to the moment I went to bed, everything was shit. Happy Sunday, everybody. Wonderful stuff. It was, in some way, a symptom of how everything is at the moment. It was just one of those days, and I imagined at the time when I wrote it down, I was like, I imagine everybody can picture, everyone can experience, just one of those days where you think, I should have stayed in bed. Today is a write-off. The irony is, part of me that was thinking that the reason that I was having such a hard time dealing with everything is that I got up later than I have been getting up. Even if the alarm goes off at 5:30 and I don't get out of bed till 7, I'm still getting out of bed at 5:30 to turn the alarm off. So I'm awake. When you start your day, first alarm going off at 7 o'clock, it's a different story. It made the day shit. I don't know. I can't explain it. I'll give you another example. And this is just one of those. Because it's in some ways, it's a really small thing. And in other ways, it's like a cherry on top of a shit sandwich. Just before I started recording this podcast, or just before I was about to start recording this podcast, because this whole thing took me 30 minutes, I turned the computer on and there was no internet. Now, I'm sure some of you can imagine no internet is a big freaking deal. And some of you can imagine no internet is not the end of the world. However, when you're sitting down to record a podcast, you don't need any internet. When you're sitting down to record a podcast that you're then going to code and try and upload to the internet, no internet's a bit of a problem. And it's just that. That is life for me at the moment. Final thing on running. The distance has started returning. I've had a couple of runs where I've hit that 3 mile mark, and I'm like, okay, here we go. We can do this. Obviously, because I'm not getting out the door in time, run out of time, and I have to call it a day. My intention is to get the distance back, to get long distance as my standard. Long distance for me, should I say, as my standard. I honestly don't know where I am at the moment in the terms of mental headspace. For example, I know I need to get up in the morning. I need to get up. I need to get out the door. I need to run. I need to walk the dog. I need to do a load of stuff. It needs to be done before a certain point in time. I need to be up, ready and good to go. Is there a part of me that already knows it's not going to happen? I'll leave you with that question. So, that's that. It was this big long list. And I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about running for 9 hours. And people are going to be annoyed. And it's going to be boring. Admittedly, it was annoying and boring. But it's done with now. It didn't take that long. Another drink, really. Oh, that is a nice raspberry non-alcoholic beer. TV. I've done something really naughty. Oh no, maybe no. It's nothing to do with TV. It's to do with movies though. So let's talk TV. I finished watching the TV series 6, Series 2. I think you may remember from last week, the week before maybe. I was talking about the fact that I'd stumbled across this program, which is called 6, which is about SEAL Team 6. And I sort of binged Series 1. Series 1 was great, really enjoyed it. There was a couple of things in Series 1 that I didn't really need or want. However, moving into Series 2, they carried over the stuff that I didn't need or want and turned that into kind of the entire series. So it was difficult to watch. I watched episodes 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, which was the full series, and I managed to get them all done before they were due to disappear off Amazon Prime, which was the whole point. Back end of Series 2 got better. I will give it that. A little bit more shooty, bang, bang, a little bit less. This guy's wife left him. That's not to say that stuff, this guy's wife left him and this guy's family's falling apart and this guy's a crazy man and, not to say that left the building. No, that was all still there. One of those things where, as time went on, I was like, I can see why this didn't get a third series. I'm kind of glad that we're going to get some closure. But when you know a series is going to end, there's a few different ways a series can end. The series that thought they were getting another series, so leave it on a cliffhanger. That's always fun. The series that knew they weren't getting another series, so put it all in a big bow. The series that knew wasn't getting another series, but hey, fuck you. Middle finger. This, no spoilers, this series went a little bit off book. So we get to the back end of the last episode, and I'm like, I kind of think I see how this is going to go. You know, they've been setting up a situation for a few episodes, and I was like, I kind of think I see how this is going to go. Nevertheless, I was still surprised how it ended. Weirdly, not to the point where I was looking to get another series on the go, but I have thought about the ending often since watching it. So I'm a bit like, maybe it had more of an impact on me than I expected it to. All in all, 2 series of a TV program. Series 1, hands down, a lot better than Series 2. Series 2 just wasn't for me. Yeah, like I say, a little bit more shooty bang bang would have been nice. Real quick, because I don't want to go into it, I don't want to, whatever. But I've worked my way through Series 2 of The League. I'm now on to Series 3 of The League. Just want to give The League a massive shout out. It is absolutely fantastic. Something that has been interesting is the DVD that I've got. Yes, DVD. It's a box set that I got for an event. It was either a birthday, an anniversary, a Father's Day. Pick one. It was, well, it has to have been last year. I haven't had any events this year. So I got it last year as a box set. Now, I knew it was Region 1. I think I've talked about this already. I knew it was Region 1. And I knew in our house we had a variety of different ways to watch Region 1 things. As it turned out, none of the discs would play on any of the Region 1 things. But I had a theory. And the theory was that that's because they're all connected to the internet and it was doing like a check. There is an item in our house that plays Region 1 and isn't connected to the internet. So what I did was I went to that and I went, let's see if this works. And I put it in, and wouldn't you know it, it worked straight away. And that's how I've been able to watch a Region 1 box set, touch wood, up to this point. What's super fun, super cool, referring back to me saying how everything's really shit at the moment, the only device in my house that will play Region 1 then decided, you don't want this disc back, do you? Because I'm keeping it. All right. I'll tell you what. I'll let you have an inch of the disc. Is that enough for you? No, I kind of need the whole thing. No can do, bro. So that's been fun for the last 3 discs, fighting with the DVD player, Blu-ray player, whatever it is, to get the disc in and out every time. So, this box set is an American box set. When I used to watch The League, it was on Netflix. One of the biggest crimes of all existence. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration. I appreciate that. But in a lot of ways, one of the biggest crimes in all of existence is the fact that Netflix removed The League from Netflix, from their service. And it has appeared nowhere else. It's not on like Disney. It's not on like free streaming service. You can buy it on Amazon Prime. It is very expensive. Believe me, I've looked. So, just wanted to give The League a shout out. It's absolutely fantastic. It properly makes me laugh. I've seen it multiple times. Still makes me laugh. When I said I did something naughty, I wrote down 3 films that I watched. What's the naughty bit? I haven't finished one of them. Naughty. Naughty, Mr. Cook, naughty. So, I'm not going to talk about that because I haven't finished it. If I had have finished it, I'd tell you that it's not been brilliant so far, but hey. I have watched 2 films. I'm partway through a third, and I have started a fourth. I know that sounds like a weird way of watching films, but there's method in the madness, because one of them I only watch when I'm on the treadmill. So I needed another film when I wasn't on the treadmill, but it was movie time. You see? All makes sense. I watched one of those. It was a DC animated movie. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. It was Batman: Death in the Family. I'm not going to go on about it too much. I'm not going to talk about it too much. What I am going to say is this. I didn't realise when I bought it that it was an interactive movie. One of those things feels a little bit... How do I say it without being cruel? It felt a little bit dated. It felt like something that you would have got in the 90s or the 2000s or whatever. An interactive movie. I know Netflix did a series of these interactive movies. I've never watched one. I've never done one. I imagine doing something like that with friends might be mildly entertaining. But I didn't realise that this was one of these interactive movies. Not only until it arrived, but a while after I saw it, and it was just on the front cover. I was like, what? Short version is it's like a choose your own adventure. You watch 15-20 minutes of a film, and then it pauses and it goes, this is going to happen no matter what, but you can pick the outcome. So the first one, there was like 3 different options. It told me to start with, it told me the rules, and it's all replayable and blah, 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 blah. But it told me there was 7 different endings. So I set out to achieve all 7 different endings, which I did get. It was mildly entertaining. It used kind of a couple of different twists on a very well-known Batman story, which is the Death in the Family one. Ultimately, probably not something that we want to be doing a lot of. If you're listening, DC, one-offs fine, but let's not make a habit of it. Yeah. It was fine. It was great. One of those I kind of wish I could have watched it with my eldest, but unfortunately the age rating is out of her age rating, so that's one of those. I'll have to save it for the future, sort of thing. The film that I actually started and finished watching is the film The Nice Guys. Bit of background for this. I remember this film coming out a while ago. I think, obviously, with no internet, I can't check. I think it came out in 2012. I think. I remember it being advertised. I remember it being a thing. Mildly interested in it. Just one of those films that I never got around to seeing. Never got around to see it. Also, it's never really been one of those that's appeared as a free to watch. I seem to think there was a point in time where it was available on Prime. I was like, oh, I'll watch that. And I just never did. Recently, there was this little bit of it got a bit of a mention here and there. They were talking about there might be another one coming down the line, all of this. Then people start talking about this amazing chemistry that Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe had in the film. It made the film. It was great. They bounced off each other. All of this. I'm like, do you know something? I think I needed to make a concerted effort to watch this film. Over Christmas, I bought a series of different films on Amazon Prime in the sale. Now, an aside to this, I really wish I'd have bought more, 2 films that I nearly bought and I didn't. And since then, they've gone back to their original price and they've never come down again. And I wish I'd have bought them at the time. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So watch The Nice Guys. On the plus side, I can say this. I agree. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe's chemistry, very good. There was a kid in it who, after a while, I was like, what the hell has that kid been in? It's really bugging me. So I looked it up, and it's a girl from the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. She plays Ryan Gosling's character's daughter. And yeah, you know, the chemistry between these characters is great. However, there's a film called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, starring Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., and Iceman himself, Val Kilmer. There's other people in it, but they are the 2 main characters in it. It's very good. It's very fun. There's a lot of entertainment value from this film. Watching The Nice Guys, I was like, in a world where Kiss Kiss Bang Bang exists, do we need The Nice Guys? Because all it was a variation on that theme. In the sense that, although the chemistry between Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe, was very good, nobody at any point tells you whether the film's any good or the story's any good. And it was... I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was any good. It seemed... The story seemed out of place. It seemed weird. It seemed like it should have been like a different film telling that story would have had a better impact. Like a little bit more of a serious nature might have had a bit of a better impact. Whereas like in some ways like a light-hearted comedy, the story felt out of place. So I watched it. I enjoyed it, but not sure as a film it lived up to the hype necessarily. I don't know. I'm not sure. Computer games wise, I'm going to hold my hands up on this one. I've done the thing I said I wasn't going to do, and I've basically poured all of my game playing time into Hogwarts Legacy. Very much one of those games. For all of its highs, there are a few lows. There are points where I've been playing it and it's got a little bit repetitive. There are points where I've been playing where some of the mechanics are a little bit meh. There was a point where I was getting, I'll hold my hands up. I was getting a little bit bored. I was like, the game needs something. It needs to give me something. And literally the next day I put it on. I was like, and that's what we were looking for. No spoilers. There was a point where I was tired of, go and talk to this professor and they'll give you a side mission to do. It just seemed repetitive and annoying, and there were all these little small annoyances, is what I would say. On the flip side, I want to really say that honestly, the game is a marvel in so many ways. It's phenomenal to me how this game exists. It's huge. The level of detail is off the charts. Absolute insanity that this game exists. It feels like if somebody told you that this game took 15 years to make, you'd be like, oh, it's still good going though, isn't it? It's bonkers the level of detail in certain things. The fact that I was talking to Lan about this earlier, and I was saying, you can pretty much go anywhere in that game, stop at like a little village in the middle of nowhere, and somebody will give you a mission. Somebody there will give you a mission to do. There are some aspects, some of the enemies are a little bit repetitive, but there are quite a few enemies. You've got spiders and trolls and humans and all this sort of stuff. I tried to do something that I really hoped would work. It didn't. I was a little bit disappointed, but hey, that kind of thing. I play it, and as a game, I play it in awe. I go around it like, just how did they do this? There are things, and I don't want to spoil anything, like I say, but there is an aspect where you go from a room into another room, and the transition between the two is almost seamless, and just that in itself has to be some kind of black magic. It feels like this game shouldn't exist, but it does. And that is just nothing short of magic. Ho 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 ho. There's so much more I could say. I work on the principle that I'm probably going to be reviewing this game for a while, because as far as story is concerned, I'm probably about 50% of the way through. The game tells me I'm about 24% of the way through the game, but I imagine that takes into a lot of side missions and things like that. There's a lot of side missions that I haven't completed yet, because they're those ongoing side missions that kind of just go on through the entire time you're playing the game. Whereas other side missions I try to get done as best I can, where I can. I can tell you this now, there's going to be more Hogwarts Legacy. I'll be talking about it for a while. You never know, I might play another game at some point. I don't know how likely that is, but we'll see. That's it. That's the week. There we go. We're done. We made it to the end together as a team. I'm going to catch you next time. That's what I'm going to do. See ya. So there we go. What do you think of that? Sorry if you didn't heed the warning and realised all too late that there was far too much running. There was other stuff. I'm pretty sure there was other stuff. However, if you were here for the running content and loved every minute of it, why don't you drop us a little 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts? Spotify, Apple, I know they're the main ones. If you get it somewhere where you can leave a review, please do. Drop us a comment. Tell us how much you loved it. You can also like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Check out the website. It's thecookiecast.com. There we've got some social media links and an email button. That way you can get in touch with us and tell us that you're one of our subscribers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right, that's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
This is a Cookie Cast production.